NFL Chaos here with Jeremy, and I am the Chaos, bringing the chaos for you today, and I am here to talk about Justin Fields. So it was announced the other day that Justin Fields got the green light to go. He is medically cleared, his ribs are healed, and he has been cleared to play versus Green Bay. In a very big game. It's not a big game with playoff implications. It's maybe for Green Bay. Chicago is playing for pride at this point, but anytime Chicago plays Green Bay, it's a big game. Chicago wants to beat Green Bay, and their fans, Chicago fans, want the Chicago Bears to beat Green Bay. There's no question about that. But there are some fans, and I've heard some people questioning, should they be starting Justin Fields against Green Bay, or should they just go with a veteran and keep him safely on the sideline? And here's my take on this, okay? If you find your franchise quarterback, when you find your franchise quarterback, if that's who he's going to be, I'm so tired of hearing about people wanting to protect them like children, like babies. Oh, the confidence will be messed up. They're not ready yet. Think about any established great quarterback. Do you think that they were someone that wasn't going to be able to handle the pressure of going and playing in a big game? The way I look at it is, if Justin Fields the man, Chicago's got to figure that out. And he has shown signs of being the man. He's shown incredible athleticism. He's shown that he is not just a guy who can run the football. He is a full, complete football player. One of the best moments, the best positives to take away from Justin Fields this season was in the Pittsburgh game. They were crushing him in the first half, and he improved and got better throughout the game. In the second half, he was much better at running the offense and putting it together drives against Pittsburgh's defense. And that is so critical and so important, because quarterbacks, typically, if you're going to be a successful quarterback in this league, you have to adjust. You can't fall apart and crumble during a big game. And Justin Fields proved that he can hold it together. He could regroup, he could lead, and he could put together drives after the fact. Now, as far as playing against Green Bay, yes, Green Bay's a big game. Their defense is tough. They shut out Russell Wilson when he came back from injury. They won that game 17-0. But look at it this way. Even if Justin Fields is cold and rusty, and we saw that. We've seen that with Russell Wilson. We saw that with Zach Wilson. His first game back, it's very easy to come back rusty from an injury. Even with all that said, this is experience, okay? This is going to be, if Chicago gets to where they want to be, you have to assume that Green Bay is going to be a rival, right? Even if Aaron Rodgers leaves, Green Bay has been good forever, or for what feels like forever. So you have to imagine there's a good chance that they're going to find their quarterback, whether it's Jordan Love, whether it's somebody else, that they're going to be a very big competitor in for years to come. But they're a division rival, and it's good to get that experience to your rookie quarterback. Like, as long as he's clear to play, as long as there's no risk to his ribs or like a further injury, that would be stupid, obviously. But if he's got the full clearance to go, let's get the kid in there. If he struggles because he's cold, if he's for any reason, it's okay. And you got to ignore fans. You got to ignore the fans that right away want to turn on quarterbacks. Oh, he stinks. He couldn't win the big game. He had a horrible game. He's a bust. You got to ignore that. You got to put that out of your head. It's okay if he struggles. It's okay if he struggles, because the takeaway is that Justin Fields will get experience in a big game. If he makes mistakes, he gets an opportunity to learn from those mistakes. If he plays great, it sets a precedent for him. Look, I rise to the occasion. I play great. You can only gain from this. The worst case scenario is he doesn't play well. He gains some experience. The best case scenario, he plays really well and then has that in his toolbox already. He has that under his belt, an accomplishment. Then the next time they play next year, Bears come back, you hit refresh on a new season. Now you come back, and if you play a meaningful game against against Chicago or any division rival or any big game, he has more experience with those big games under his belt. Because this, at this point for Chicago, this is a big game. This is the big game because it's a division rival. The other games are not going to feel nearly as big compared to when this team rebuilds and are playoff contenders. I believe they will be. I believe that Justin Fields has a lot to offer as a quarterback. We don't know. I mean, it's a question mark as far as slowing down the defense. How good of a passing quarterback in the pocket is he going to be? I mean, these are things that you can't answer after 10 games. Or for him, how many has he started? Because he was hurt for a few. He didn't even start the season. You can't answer those questions. But what I have seen is that he's not going to be horrible. He definitely has proven that he can hang. He's a player. He can see the field. He can find his receivers, and he, has made some amazing throws. So this kid's got an arm, and he could thread the needle. So we've seen evidence of that. We know that the capability is there for him to be a quarterback in this league. So what's left? What's left is how good can he be? Okay? There's no doubt he's great on his feet. He's explosive. He's dangerous. He's going to give headaches to the defense. He is a guy you have to worry about. He could take off at any time. Justin Fields is going to be a dangerous quarterback on his feet. What decides whether he's going to be a great quarterback is how good is he going to be as a passing quarterback. Now, I think he's already showing signs that his floor is that he's going to be good enough to be very dangerous on his feet with what he's shown. And that's very early. The ceiling is unlimited, right? We don't know what the ceiling is. The ceiling is he could be a better passing quarterback than Lamar Jackson easily. We don't know yet, but he could end up being better than Lamar. And imagine that, because he's as dangerous on his legs as Lamar. So that's crazy, right? Because if you get even better as a passer than Lamar Jackson, and all of a sudden you have this kid that could thread a needle and be accurate and read a defense even better, and then you put that same danger in there that he can run on his feet, now you're talking about a very, very dangerous quarterback. And that's what's really exciting about Justin Fields, is that his ceiling can be so incredibly high. Now, look, a lot of people had doubts about him. The doubts for most people who are watching, and that I think are right, are whether he showed evidence he was going to be great. He never showed evidence that he wasn't going to be great. Like, there's no evidence against him. There's nothing you could really take from his college days and already as a rookie. There's nothing you could take that say he is definitively not going to succeed in the NFL. Okay? You could have concerns. You could say he hasn't proven it yet. But nothing he did is evidence that he won't be. Because any time that he struggled, people, myself included, said, hey, he struggled against Northwestern. He had another game where he struggled, the championship game where he actually had good and bad moments. But none of that matters, because we still don't know. First of all, every time a quarterback is under – Tom Brady is not good when he's under a lot of pressure, or not as good. So it's so silly when people say, can he handle pressure? Because – I remember his whole career, people said, well, the only way to stop Tom Brady is to bother him. It's to pressure him. That's the only way to slow down Tom Brady. Well, that's every quarterback. If a quarterback doesn't have enough time to read the field, they're not going to be as ineffective a quarterback. So it's silly. And I did it too, and I'm silly for doing it, for worrying about Justin Fields because of the games where he was under a lot of pressure. Because the real thing is that you have to look at is, was he mistake prone? Did he know to throw the ball away? Or was he throwing interceptions? Was he being wild and chaotic? And not that there's anything wrong with being chaotic, but on a football field, yes. That's what you look at. And I never saw Justin Fields do that. I didn't see him fall apart and give the game away. I saw him not to be able. I see him at times where he's not able to be as effective because of pressure. But I've never seen him crumble and fall apart. And the Pittsburgh game is a great example of that. He really came back in the second half and was very impressive. I was like, holy cow, this kid could play. And it kind of reminds me of a lot of good players, rookies who were like that, who would show those little signs. And one I mentioned before is Lamar Jackson. Even in his rookie year, he struggled a lot, but he also had times where it was like, wow, this kid is dangerous. And then we saw him, as he got experience, start to explode. So really the answer is they absolutely should be starting Justin Fields. There's no question it's the right move. Nobody should doubt that it's the right move. It's okay if he struggles. There's no reason to hit a panic button. It would be better and more exciting if he did great against Green Bay and he lit them up. Everybody wants their quarterback to show that they're ready for the NFL as soon as possible, so it becomes less of a question mark. So it'd be great for Justin Fields if he had a great game. If he lit it up, if he threw for a few touchdowns, it would be awesome. But if he doesn't have a great game, it doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. It just means you don't know completely yet what his ceiling is and what he's going to be. But it's exciting for Chicago to have that position taken care of. They certainly should have no regrets. They did this aggressive move to trade up. They took their guy. Should be happy about that decision. They've needed an electric, dynamic quarterback forever. And finally, the organization has got it. And what's great is Chicago, we know how the weather can get. What a great thing to have a quarterback that if the passing game is neutralized, not only do you have a history of good defense on Chicago and building a good running game, but you have a quarterback who can run it also. So you can fake the handoffs and do all kinds of things. Perfect quarterback for Chicago. Perfect. Gotta love it. I'm excited for them. I'm a Jets fan myself. Obviously, everybody knows that about me, but I love the rookie quarterback class that came out this year. I'm being driven crazy by people that are already saying they were overrated and failing. It is ridiculous. It is way too early to say that about any of them. It's just crazy, and it's crazy. It's insanity that anybody is saying anything bad about this quarterback class yet. We have to wait a couple of years, a few years. It might take a few years, and then we look back and we see how it panned out. For some quarterbacks, it even takes a little bit longer to know for sure, right? I mean, Baker Mayfield, is it because he's hurt? Last year, a year ago, everybody was on the Baker Mayfield train. He was like first quarterback to be leading the Browns. And then this year, people are talking about, do they want to sign him? Do they want to keep him? Are we going to see him go to another team? Guys playing with 3 injuries, right? And this is what people are saying. So it takes time. I don't think it's going to take that time for a guy like Justin Fields. I think we're going to know because I think we're going to know pretty fast. Not how big his ceiling is, but we're going to know. Chicago's going to know if they have the right guy. Probably sometime early next season. I think the Jets are in a similar situation. I think that that they have to take that step forward next year where they left off from the year before, and I think that'll be a good indicator of like where their floor is, at least that they're not going to be bust quarterbacks, that they're definitely going to be like the starting quarterback for the next bunch of years. So I think that there's a good chance we'll know that earlier. We have to see how it goes for both those teams. I think that Trevor Lawrence is being judged way too soon. I think he's trying to carry that team on his shoulders. He doesn't have a good football team around him. It's impossible to judge him. I'm actually impressed by some of the things he's done. And obviously you have concerns about some of the things he's done. The problem and the issue and the challenge for Trevor Lawrence is he was heralded as the generational talent, superstar, Peyton Manning quarterback. And that's always a problem because he could become a very good quarterback and will always be looked upon the wrong way because he never lived up to those insane expectations that you could never know about any quarterback out of college. So, again, that's another thing of how good will Trevor Lawrence be. I still believe what I've always said about Trevor Lawrence is he had the lowest floor, and I think that's true. I still feel confident that, well, Mac Jones has obviously proved that his floor is not going to be that low. And even though people want to say he plays in a great system, yeah, he plays in a great system, but he showed that he could play in that system. So for him and the team he is and for his situation, he's going to be, at least we know, a decent, good quarterback in this league. Is he going to be a superstar? Is he the coming of the next Brady? Way too soon. Way too big of a comparison. Not fair to him. Doesn't make any sense to do that, but we'll see about him. But anyway, going back to this quarterback class, I'm rooting for them, hoping that Justin Fields puts on a show. It's always fun to watch. It's great for the sport of football. If you're a Green Bay fan, if you don't like the Bears, I can't imagine not liking Justin Fields. He's given absolutely no reason to like him as a person. But if you don't like Chicago, so you don't want to see him play well, okay, I get it. But it's going to be very hard for anybody to deny that he's not fun to watch. I mean, the guys I watch, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes when he's playing well, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson. There are just guys that are fun to watch. They're just Justin Herbert now. I mean, just to watch the incredible things that they do, it's so entertaining to watch them, and it's great for the NFL when those players are discovered and those players pan out. So we'll see how they all do. Justin Fields, good luck to you. We'll be talking about it next week. I'll come out after his game with a reaction. And Justin Fields, baby, playing against the Packers.